That.
Wow, that's crazy.
Hey, hey guys!
Oh, wow, you scared me, man.
Wow.
Oh,
Okay. Hi.
I'm
Hello.
pretty sure you
Good
just
morning.
went over the red there, Royce, with that.
Dang,
The screams. Hey, we have 4 people on the show today. We have Josh, aka JP Morgan. That's really his name, and we still invited him. And we have Royce. Royce Wells, the CEO and the creator of this awesome thing called PIPS, the 12-band system that is pretty doggone accurate. And we also have somebody else in the room with Royce. Who is that?
She didn't give her a name. My daughter drew that. So
You mean Beatrice?
I'll call her Mini B. Yes.
Mini B.
Okay. There you go.
All right. That's, it is May. And
Yeah.
those things, okay. Watch when you're walking through clover. And we also have me, which is the retail ape who sits in the basement of his parents' home, even though they are no longer here. Rest in peace. And God bless their souls. And I should, at this point, should say none of the 4 of us are financial advisors. So please do your own research on anything we say today. All right.
Yeah,
we got that out of the way.
Duly licensed financial advisors.
That's right. That's correct. Yes. Even though we're very accurate in a lot of things we say, we're still not advisors. It's entertainment only.
Yeah.
And boy,
that's another story. Oh.
Boy, are these guys entertaining. We're gonna get into that later. There's sad things to say later, but we're gonna start off with the tale of the tape. We're gonna talk about everything is green. Everything's green. Kermit the Frog is happy because everything is green. The rally is at least they're saying it's global and well, let's just talk about that a little bit.
Global rally.
Here are the facts about the global rally. 14 of the world's 20 largest stock markets have hit all-time highs recently, which include England, Japan, Brazil, India, Canada. The S&P hasn't dropped more than 2% at a trading session in 311 days. No.
Someone's lying.
Hold on, but you got to finish this with in a trading session in 311 days. So there is a time frame there.
Talking about. We're just going to randomly throw 311 out there. Okay, sure. Why not?
I'm not the writer. And I certainly don't have this memorized. So I'm the reader right now. By the way, if you look at my eyes, you can tell that. I'm not that smart. And just let's talk about the exuberance. We're talking about every week. It seems that we're hitting highs everywhere, and tech is going crazy. I mean, what's some of your thoughts there, Josh? First, Mr. JP Morgan, why are we doing this? Where's the money coming from, and where's it going?
I mean, well, if we're now that I'm under the apes category, I just say that stonks only go up, but it's a lot of
except when the market's going up. Go ahead.
Right. But there's a lot of various factors to include in there, but we're still kind of absorbing inflation. And then you throw in all of the manipulation and control, and everything just goes up, and it just keeps going up. And you keep printing money, and that money gets spent, and that it just continues to prop everything up.
Right, absolutely, 100%. What about you, Royce? Throw in your 2 cents worth. You and
I could not agree with you, apes, more this week.
Wow, did he say that?
What?
Actually,
he's one of us.
I do agree, and hey, I might be an ape this week. Give me a tinfoil hat. Let's go.
Got some bananas and crayons. You like crayons?
I like bananas and crayons. Why not? But yeah, to Josh's point, inflation. They say the Fed says they're fighting inflation. Basically, it doesn't look like they're fighting if we're still reaching all-time highs. Basically, if it continues to go higher, that means more money is being put into the system. If more money is being put into the system, more money is being put into the market. And so basically, as that money gets absorbed into the market, everything just goes higher. So, to that point, how much air can we get? Nothing but air, nothing but net over here. So 14 of the 20 markets are all-time highs. That is ridiculous.
It is. It really is. It's almost like a plan. There's a plan out there, a worldwide plan to make this happen right now.
I even
So
saw Bitcoin make it to 70,000 again. I was like,
and
what?
that you would think it would, yes. And I was going to talk
Yeah.
about that. It definitely went over 7,000 or 70,000, excuse me. And it's just hanging out there. It's almost like that was another number. I think Josh and I were talking about that earlier. It's like they're hitting these big numbers for a reason. Though
Yeah.
40K in the Dow and
Yeah. I remember
5K now
when they
52.
were saying Dow 20,000, right? Dow 20,000.
Yes.
I was like, woo. Or the
Yeah.
S&P 2,000. Yes.
I mean, even just from a psychological standpoint, those hard numbers are realistic barriers and floors, because it's just psychologically speaking, the same reason you go to the grocery store and they're going to put $3.99 on something. Well, not anymore. I don't think you can get anything for $3.99 anymore. But
gumball.
Yeah, right. Vending
Gumball.
machines, right?
Absolutely.
Well, maybe, I mean, this sounds crazy. And by the way, I have a hat coming in on January 6th.
Oh, excellent.
No,
Oh,
June
nice.
6th. If it was January, it might be coming from China. But it probably is anyway, and it's still going to be here June 6th. And yeah, it'll be a fun one.
May you pay 100% tariffs on that hat, sir.
I probably did. Sitting in a container off the coast of somewhere right now. It'll be here. But what I was getting at is maybe this is a global pump, if you will, to try to have all the people reelect the leaders that are in charge because they don't want to break up a good thing. I don't know. I'm being really tense.
I keep forgetting it's an election year.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
It's an election year. It's like,
and
hey,
everything, yes, and
everything
also,
is awesome.
Everything is awesome. So why vote for somebody else?
Well, I mean, yeah, that fits.
Keep the people in power.
Yeah, I mean, for the American system that works, but it's not really an election year for every country. And,
exactly. But we control the money flow to almost everything. So,
and there are certain
downgrade our credit again.
Yes. All right. So yes, I mean, how long will this last? Man, this is not the wager. We should do this though as a side wager, I guess. But how long till a black swan event happens? I mean, it's not like I don't really want to wish something bad to happen, but man, the market needs to come down. Exactly. I know.
Pull out a little generative AI and say, "Hey, what do you think?"
He's 5%, and we talked about this before, but 5% is not enough. If it's going to go back up, it's got to come down 20%, in my opinion.
But the harder it falls, the higher it rises.
There it is.
That's how the bands work. The harder it falls, the higher it rises, and the faster it goes up, the bigger the fall. So
meanwhile, we're just creeping. We're creeping though. We're definitely not going.
And that's what can be maintained forever, because as long as it's creeping, almost went into a song from my youth, and I decided not to.
Yes, let's get some karaoke going.
Well, I'm sorry, I just snorted. If you heard that, maybe I can edit it out. I think. As I would if you started singing.
No singing on the podcast.
All right, let's move on, because I mean, obviously the money's coming from somewhere. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, maybe it's not real. Who knows? But anyway, we're going to go ahead on to the Ethereum, and the chance that there's going to be an Ethereum ETF now. Because they just made a Bitcoin one happen. So what's going to happen now, Royce, with Ethereum?
Well, for a very long time, and I mean almost 5 years now, I've been speculating. My tinfoil hat has been speculating that Ethereum will outpace Bitcoin. And here's why. Ethereum basically allows smart contracts. Mm-hmm. With smart contracts, basically eliminates the needs, and I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway because this is my podcast, right? Right. Smart contracts allows you to basically set up all the parties that are involved. So like for whether it's a wedding, a divorce, a business merger, or whatever it is, it's a contract. And basically it will not trigger the next phase of that contract until the prior phase has been executed. So when you set it up, if you set it up properly, it allows basically very efficient handling of legal things, very efficient handling of things that are very detail oriented, and it basically it makes it really efficient on time, because as soon as one part of the contract is done, the next person is notified, and the next person is notified, and there's a complete ledger of everything, right?
Automatically executed then? It just kind of goes step
Exactly.
by step.
So imagine a world where you couple AI with smart contracts.
Mm.
That becomes a whole thing's like, hey, ChatGPT, I want to merge with, Josh, JP Morgan. What do I have to do that? And then it just starts writing. And
Yeah.
then if they accept the smart contract, then hey, you're in. You don't have to find the contact person. You don't have to do that because all that's out there in the ether, and it just connects you to the people, to the wallets, to the things. So Ethereum has a really bright future if it's adopted.
Mm. You know what? Maybe that's. Go ahead.
Oh no, but the big thing is, will it be adopted?
That's what I'm saying. Maybe that's the plan. If you think about it, the way the funds make a lot of money is to go from one thing to another, right? So maybe Bitcoin is going to finally hit a ceiling, and then they're going to turn on the switch saying, okay, it's time to go after Ethereum now. So now we've already got all our money down here in Ethereum, and then whoop, and they just made a whole bunch of money here, and then also made money going down on Bitcoin, I'm sure. So who knows?
And let's not forget about XRP. XRP makes it for faster transactions. Typically, when you're transferring crypto, there's gas fees. And those gas fees, basically, they used to take up to an hour or so for the funds to settle wherever they're going. So like a wire. XRP basically facilitates it, makes it where it's in sub-second. So that means you can literally get money all across the globe and back in seconds. And yes, they do use smart contracts to do that. So basically, if you start coupling the technology, there's a lot of really good uses for some of the cryptocurrency assets that are out there.
Gotcha. Well, and I think this is a good time to say we're not financial advisors one more time. These are theories and just discussions and for entertainment only. But I mean, you make up your mind if it makes sense to you or not. I mean, that's true. I mean, it definitely could, with a capital C, could happen. Bitcoin, like you said, just went over 70. What about silver and gold? I mean, did it hit its top now? Because it seems like it did. Are we done with that, or what's going to happen?
Some pretty heavy profit taking in gold recently,
right.
And it had a ripple effect that affected a lot of other metals and materials. It was surprising. I mean, it took a pretty big chunk, one that I haven't seen in a couple of years.
Well,
was it shorts being taken?
For everyone that was hiding in gold, waiting to see if that halving was going to have a big effect, and then them announcing, hey, there's this ETF coming for Ethereum possibly. People are basically lining up, getting in line possibly to hide their money. Basically, once again, gold and silver was the standard. So precious metals, that's the old way for Gen X and forward. When I talk about those millennials, oh, sorry, we're not going to talk about those guys. But yes, that's the new way: cryptocurrency and tokens and basically alternative investment methods.
So we got a battle though, because if you remember, a lot of the BRICS countries are piling into the gold and silver. So it's like, who's going to win? It's almost like another battle that's happening. Not necessarily behind the scenes anymore, because everybody knows what's going on. So that's the entertainment.
Yeah, and it's a tug of war, because basically a lot of people have felt that they've been under the U.S.'s thumb for so long, and basically the dollar for so long. So they're trying to find alternatives, whether it's gold, whether it's silver, Ethereum, Bitcoin. Bitcoin even has something called Satoshi, which is like fragments of Bitcoin, so that way it's actually spendable. Right. So if countries start to adopt it, they can decentralize the monetary system, which definitely wars can be started over this and possibly ended over this. All right.
There's a black swan. For sure.
Hey.
Surely that wouldn't be planned. There's no way. Let's move on to the next section. Before we go way out there. That's right. So, Royce, you and I have talked about this a little bit lately, and it's T+1. What's going to happen when that is turned on? I mean, Is this
I
going to
am
be
not
another?
looking.
Let's talk about brokers. Let's talk about what'll happen with delivering shares. Let's talk about, just all those fun things that us apes like to talk about,
All
and have
right,
been
so
complaining
I'm
about
gonna
having
actually
too
put
much
on my
time to
tinfoil
settle.
hat.
All right.
I'm putting on my tinfoil hat for this one because it used to be T plus 3, it
Yes.
used to be T plus 2, it used to be T plus 1, right? And every single time they lowered that time frame, they did nothing to the fees. So it's like, okay, if it was 3 days for it to settle, basically there was a fee that they charge you to actually settle the money if you tried to sell it faster. So then they decreased to 2, and then they added and doubled that fee. Now they're going to T plus 1. So now basically every single day, what used to be a 3-day process and a single fee, now you're paying triple the amount to get your money to settle the same day so you can use it elsewhere. And if you add basically 24/7 markets to the mix, oh, good God, it's going to be chaos. It's going to be
Right.
absolute hell.
Right. And there's been articles I've read that have said that the brokers aren't ready. They are not. They've done some tests and they are not ready for this. So when it clicks on, then, or maybe they're just delaying because they don't want to get to it. Maybe they're just saying that. But
There's definitely a
once it
lot
switches
of
on, yeah.
maintenance that goes with it too. So basically, you have to settle your books, and that's why they're basically that's why they're saying it costs so much to settle their books to basically make the money available to spend again. Because I'm not sure if you guys know about, like, for example, if you close out a position, this is in the U.S. stock market, right? If you close out a position on Monday, you can't basically reuse those funds for a certain number
Right.
of days. So
Yep.
it means you can buy something with it after you sold, but you
3
can't
days.
sell it within that 3-day window.
Right. Yep.
All of these changes are making it like, buy MC, buy GameStop, buy AMC, buy GameStop. Every day, do it as much as you want. There's a fee, but you can do it as much as you want.
Well,
I do
yeah,
wonder,
yeah.
just on the side, I kind of wonder how that would affect, or how that's going to change how people set up their accounts, like a cash account versus a margin account. Because the margin accounts allow you to do the more instantaneous transactions, whereas a cash account, and especially for like back when I first started, and had under 25 and had 3-day restrictions and things like that, and day trading rules, and so you pretty much had to have a margin account versus a cash account, unless you wanted to, because you only had a certain number of transactions you could do, and you had to wait 3 days for those funds to settle.
Right.
So I think the stock market is going to evolve into be more like the foreign exchange market. How the foreign exchange market is, you have your money, you have margin. They charge you a fee if you stay in a position overnight. So basically, let's say, for example, I buy $100 worth of Apple, and Apple is, as long as Apple is gaining, there are no margin fees, because basically we're all making money. But the day that Apple goes down a little bit, they take a little bit away from what you own of Apple, and basically your account shrinks just slightly. It allows the broker to nickel and dime their way through your account without you noticing it. And by the time you get to the end of the year, if you are a forex trader, you'll notice that basically, okay, yes, I made 10 grand, but oh my God, I gave them $3,500 and I didn't even realize it. And that's just in finance fees. So it's going to be, it's a new pioneering frontier out there, and the brokers are going to get rich. The brokers are going to have an absolute field day with this, and basically they're robber barons. There's no other way to say it.
They're whining about it. They're whining about it so much right now and fighting it so much that you feel like they're going, we're going to make a lot of money, but I'm going to play like I'm whining and mad about this.
It's like,
because that's what they do.
Work. It's so hard. It's so hard. I have to do all this maintenance. We got to do this.
They've had all this time, though. This date is not, this has been around for a long time. This date, this final Basel end game is what they call it. And they've had plenty of time. So they can't say that we're not ready.
And then margin lending, it's going to pretty much make a stock market like a bank, because basically you put your money in there, you have $100 worth of Apple, the brokers can then lend out that money somewhere else and get it back the same day and put it in 2 or 3 different things, and there's no penalty now.
Hey, what is your thought, Royce? Do the clearinghouses ever really have everything they say they have? I mean,
Oh,
be honest.
that. All right. We don't have
All
enough
right, so
time
I'll move
for
on. You
that.
don't have to answer that.
I'm like,
That is a whole nother
2024.
another 4-hour thing we could do probably. But I
I'll
mean,
wrap this up in 2028.
yeah, it just reminds me though of, I call it a wimpy rule. Good old wimpy. We all know about Popeye and Wimpy, and it's please give me a hamburger of which I'll repay next. Well, we'll say 3 months from now. In what's happening in the markets, I'll deliver it in 3 months. I need a new Uber Eats driver. Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on to What?
I said nothing. I'm
okay.
I'm amazed.
Okay, so we have a special guest, JP Morgan, here today, as we have for the last few weeks, and he has announced that he might be stepping down sometime within the next 5 years. He can't say when, but on the heels of hearing several other people in different positions, power positions in the world, saying they're going to step down, it just all seems kind of crazy. Maybe do you guys think that they're doing this because they're old? Or do you think they're doing it because they're on top now, that everything's at the highest all-time highs? Or are they doing it just to get out of the way before something crazy happens and then they might be blamed for it? I mean, why don't you start with you, Royce, and then we'll go to my fellow ape, Mr.
Okay.
JP Morgan.
Well, my thing is, I have a motto basically: if it's time to take profit, it's time to take profit. If you're reaching all-time highs, why wait around to figure out if you've had an entire successful career and your portfolio is the best you've ever seen it, why wouldn't you take it and retire and your heyday? Go out in your glory days. Why wait for it to come, crashing down and then go, okay, guess I'll retire. So, I think they're making smart moves, and they have to announce it because they're regulated. So
that's true. Yeah, you're right.
Right. So it's like, okay, we're going to slowly say this and do this, and then as we, rug pull, slowly step down and step away, it allows people to say, well, we did tell you we were going to do this, so why not?
Well, he did say, JP Morgan /Dimon said that's who I meant to say. I said JP Morgan. He's no longer with us. I've been saying Dimon is who I've been meaning to say. But we have our special guest from the dead here, JP Morgan. Anyway, we're going to keep
channeling.
He did say, yes. Dimon did say that things are at like 2.3 tangible book value, and that there's no way that people are going to be buying stock at these current prices, kind of thing. So maybe that's why.
Yeah,
that's his narrative anyway. So what about you, Mr. JP Morgan? Why is your
I
man
love
Jamie saying this?
I love what you brought up. I wish I'd seen that note earlier about the black swan. I can absolutely see this being one of those situations where they have, in the last 5 years, there's been so much additional uncertainty that's been introduced. Because again, we went back and the money printer, and then you throw in Bitcoin, and then you throw in gold, and then you throw in, are we trying to other currencies backing other currencies? There's just so much up in the air that if I was in that position at the top, I'd be like, there is something coming. I don't know what it is. I can allow somebody to come in and bring in their new ideas and just ride off into the sunset. But there could be a possibility of some kind of larger event globally, since we all seem to do this we did all of it at the same time. And just riding off into the sunset. Just
finally, the piper's going to be paid at some point.
At some point. And you have to also consider what they've done with banking, right? Prior to, I think, November of 2022, all banks were required to have a 10% reserve. When they lifted that, that means 10% more money got to flood into the stock market from the banks because they no longer had to hold any of it in reserve. And so I think that's a big part of what's been happening over the last 2 years. But once again, when people start to, hunker down and decide what they're going to do with their money, or if people are allowed to put their money in banks, and you're going to get a 5 to 6% return on it. Why be in the stock market when the Fed and smart money is saying there's no risk over here? Put your money over here, 5%, 6% CD, no risk, and it's guaranteed to grow 5 to 6%.
Yep. And the last couple of things to add on to that is let's not forget the bank term funding has wound down. It's winding down now. So that's going to continue, and it's going to continue, and they have to pay that stuff back. And then the reverse repos.
I mean,
yeah, exactly. The overnight reverse repos. If you've noticed, they've gone from an all-time high of 2 billion. Now it's down to around, I think, 500 million, I believe, or is it trillion? I think I'm getting a lot. I think it was 2 trillion. Is that right? Boy, I don't know.
I think it was 2 trillion.
Yeah. So it came back down to half a trillion. Anyway, it's gone from 2 to half.
Oh wow!
Whichever denomination you use.
That's a 75% reduction.
But it stopped, and it's creeping, and the overnight for foreign is going up, which is crazy. So I mean, there's so many things you can kind of think about there. What's going on? But everything stopped at a point, and it's like, oh, that's too tight. We can't keep this where it is. So if you ever want to have fun, go to Fred. That's FRED, and look at all the reports, and you can see these fun things that pop up that they're not going to announce on TV. You're not going to see that. It's behind the scenes stuff. Yeah, what were you going to say, Royce, about that?
Oh, just talking about stagflation and all the other things that basically, if things get too inflated,
you said the S word.
Sorry. I'll we
don't talk about the S word. I mean, the funds hate that word. They really hate that word. That's right. All right. Before we get into the crayon. Yes, you really do. You really do. I mean, just look where we are and just kind of use some common sense and be careful. And of course, what the media loves to say is stock picker. We got one more thing, Royce, before you do that. We can go through pretty quickly because we kind of touched on it. But there's the theory that, and what's being pushed is that China's back. Guess who's back? China's back.
All right.
That's Eminem. I'm sorry, I couldn't do it.
I know. That was intentional, by the way.
Yeah. They announced that here they go again. They're ready to turn things around. Have we heard this before? Echo, echo, echo. Yes, I think we have. And it says that they've got this sweeping rescue package that they're going to do, and that they're going to allow local governments to buy units and convert them to cheaper rental units. So even though they have all these shells of things, they're going to sell those and have cheaper units in them to give more people places to live. And
what about all the ghost cities?
I think we've heard about exactly. It's for all the ghosts. More ghosts can live in certain units now.
I'm like, there are tons of real estate that was developed in China that no one lives in.
Which they've leveled. Some of them they've leveled, I know. But anyway, this is the latest thing. It's the latest pump for China, and that, hey, it's back. Now, I will admit that, and this is, I mean, we could dive into this too, but we don't really have time. But Temu, which is getting just, I mean, you can't escape seeing Temu everywhere. And it is a Chinese affiliated company, and it's Pinduoduo, or Pinduoduo is how they say it. And
very good. +2.
Thank you. Appreciate
I'm
that.
impressed. Nice.
Do I get +2 in the wait? Never mind. So they jump up. They jumped up 50%, I think, in the last 3 or 15. Is it 15 or 50? I gotta get my facts straight. Anyway, it's jumped up a lot since
the air.
Since the beginning of. I just have too many numbers in my head. It jumped up since January quite a bit. So this could be the funds had a lot of money in Pinduoduo, and anyway, because they love to talk about it all the time. But is China really back? I mean, what's your thought? Just some quick answers.
There's no way. Like there's just absolutely no way. And not only that, but even if, like, who is making up this news? Because I guarantee you it's coming out of like the South China Morning News or something like that.
That's right. That is actually a paper. Yes,
it is. No,
I know. I've seen it.
It's you can't believe it. Like, there's really no way to honestly say that any news coming out of China is something that is reliable.
Yeah, they're trying to go between India or China right now. What's that?
propaganda machines do exist, and AI is making it
Yes.
even easier for
Yes.
propaganda to be
Yes.
spread because you don't know if it's real or not. They make it very believable.
Yeah,
Is it real?
it goes
Is it
back to
real
the
or
gaslighting
Memorex?
that we talked about, like I think a week or two ago. You know, we're just
Yeah.
gaslighting. Are you just gaslighting yourself, or is this actually reality?
Yeah.
Scary. For us old folks, we used to hear, is it real or is it Memorex? And now we say, is it real or is it AI, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
The last, before we jump into the crayons real quick, I said that was the last thing, but I forgot that we really need to talk really quick about NVIDIA. It was released after the bell, so we should talk
Yes.
about it. And it jumped over 1,000. I don't have it pulled up right now. It went all the way up to 1020, I think. 1020.
Yeah, I
something.
saw that was the highest I saw it, just about 20
And it was in
minutes
the
ago.
low 900s, right? It was 930 or something when
It
it
was
started.
closed at
It's
like
at
974.
10:03.49 right now.
Okay.
10:03.20. It's just
Yeah, but
it jumped
it
about
tickled
$50
1020.
after the bell.
Yeah.
Right. So they beat on earnings 50 cents, and then they are going to have a 10-for-1 stock split, to put it back down to what I figure is about 100. I figure that the algorithms have put it at 1,000, and then it'll be nice, neat number. Sounds almost too neat, to right around 100, so that more people can jump in and buy.
Just
they hit the
mark my words. From 100, you will
Mark.
see 57 before the end of this year.
You think it'll dive to 57?
It's going to dive to 57 before the end
that's
of
a
the year.
prediction. Are you hearing
there
that,
you go.
AI? It's a prediction that NVIDIA, after it splits, will drop down to 57 at some point.
57.
And just like the funds do their little target for a year out, that's what we're saying here. That's all.
There you
It's going to
go.
be like a 45% drop by the end of the
Absolutely
year.
it will. Do you not remember what happened to Tesla?
Hey, you remember a black swan will do it?
I do, but Tesla also wasn't involved in this AI. And I mean, NVIDIA is the backbone of AI for the most part.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But as AMD ramps up and hey, knockoffs, as
There are
long as you
competitors,
have,
yes.
yeah.
Yep.
All of these people who were mining cryptocurrency basically switched those NVIDIA chips and cards to be their own local ChatGPT servers, and then started teaching them and started releasing GPTs. Basically, different apps into the market to advertise and basically prop up whatever they were advertising. So,
you're saying they're going to get flooded with competitors?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I say that too.
Absolutely,
yes.
they will.
That's why I said it'd be fun to look at the chips over the
Old
next
technology.
week.
Yeah,
See what
old
happens.
technology will be fighting with new technology.
Yep. It'll be fun. It really is. And so anyway, that was announced again right after the bell, and we'll see where that goes from here. And Mr. Royce.
Yes, sir.
Do you have some crayons for us?
Yeah, on the board.
On the board?
No.
No, not mini bees.
Crayons on that board.
Don't plagiarize bees artwork. You got to do your own.
Mini bee.
Okay?
Come on. All right.
And that is not
all
AI
right. I
generated.
see that we just talked about it. We have NVIDIA up. How timely for you to have this chart for us. What's going to happen here, Royce?
Oh, this is going to be outstanding. So we are looking at the daily time frame. So NVIDIA has been quite resilient. I mean, very resilient. It got these, the cross on our indicator typically means that's a top, and that's usually a long time top. And for it was basically a top all the way until roughly it broke out again in January of 2024. So it reached that top around June of 2023. And for about 6 months, it did nothing. And then all of a sudden, AI, and people started talking about AI going into November, December of this last year, and it skyrocketed, reached another top. Basically, probability says, hey, we are outside. So if you're looking at this, not sure if you can see this or not. Hold on one sec. Oh, no, the charts, they're not behaving. All right, so let's try that again. I'm going to double tap that and try this. All right. So this is the Apocalypse band. This guy is the band that predicts all of where everything is. To go outside of red is impressive. But if we bring on and I turn on, there's something I call the wall. The wall basically says everything that should be possible. And NVIDIA pushed all of its luck. It got all the way up to that very edge, it got up to the wall of the system and says, hey, you're not passing this point. It literally tagged it and basically receded from roughly about 991 and went all the way back down to about 764. And now it's just riding that third standard deviation for glory. The good thing about this is that basically, if you have this, it might be a good time to take some of that profit. And the reason why I'm saying that is if you look at our dash indicator, this is a dashboard. It looks at all the bands that make up the arbitrage band system and all the time frames on the lower time frames to basically let us know where our support and our resistances are. Well, when these guys start to light up, like for example, the novice band is saying it needs to touch 852. 852 on a daily time frame is good for about a 3 to 6 month point. So that means if it does that 10-to-1 split, that means NVIDIA will be roughly about $85. We need to touch about $85.25 somewhere within the next 3 to 6 months to not break this system. So that's a little bit scary. And basically, that's a 15% haircut. Is that a black swan? No, it's not. But if you're looking at the biggest bands in our system, those being our Apocalypse band and our Infinity band, they're outside the bell curve. And basically, they're saying, hey, not only am I out, I am way out. 789 is where the Infinity band ends, which means the Apocalypse band, which is supposed to be slightly smaller, is not only eclipsing, it is literally taking giant strides past that Infinity band, which means you can't live out here. You have to go back and visit these lower numbers. So if you're holding this, please be careful or at least consider taking some profit before that split. That's all I got, guys.
Wow. So you're saying that it's not a black swan, but it's an apocalyptic event. Great. That's even better. Thanks, Roy.
Hey.
I mean, I'm impressed. I don't know if I've ever seen you have to bust out the wall.
I've
Right?
never seen the wall. It's just another
Yeah,
brick in the
that's,
wall. But hey, it is a wall nevertheless. Wow. See,
Yeah.
he's hiding. You guys actually got to see one of the secret walls. I mean, hey,
Yeah, hey,
we haven't even seen that one.
You know where you have to stop.
Wow,
And
that's
hitting the wall, just for statistics and probability, to hit that is literally 99.999999% accurate.
Well, and
So
you
to
notice
hit that, it had to literally all the computers had to say, "Let's go."
well, it was like it was a trampoline because as soon as it hit it, it went. Doo.
Yep.
It's like you shall not
hard point of
pass.
resistance. Like
Run.
it is aptly named.
Yes,
It is
yes.
aptly named.
All right, I would like to delay this further, but actually, you know what? This is a win and a loss. But we're going to talk about the wager. It is a win.
Apes won.
Okay, yes. The banana heads. Yes, we actually gained one this week, and it wasn't because of me. It was because of, boy, this is ironic, JP Morgan that we gained this week. So the wager was FedEx, good old Memphis company. And how you doing, Fred? And the ape, well, ape one, I guess now. I don't know. Maybe we should have thing one and thing two. Ape one has said it would be over 259. I said that the funds need to have this in their portfolio, but they got all these other things like NVIDIA that for now will keep the portfolio up. So I should have thought about that. But just wait, timing, you'll see. And then Royce was 249 to 259. I was over 259.
Oh, wait, 249 to 259? I'll take that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Two. I should look at my notes a little better. Royce was 254. 254. He's changing the chart already. The scorecard. Royce was 254.
Further evaluation.
Let's go ahead and bring that. Yes. I went ahead and just brought up the after the bell scorecard for everyone to see. But obviously, JP Morgan won this week because they said it would be below 254. And this is the first week in a while that I didn't really have much of a thing to even follow. It's like, I'm so far off, I don't even need to follow this. So congratulations.
The great thing is he was left with the lower end of the spectrum. Because we said
That's
that it was
true.
going into a sell trend.
Yeah.
I mean, it worked out because that was my pick. Like I wanted that from the get-go. But
wow.
Yeah, you did say that too.
That's right. I went second and I paid for it. And But you were dead on. You said, "Oh, you said good." Even you said, "Oh, good. I'll take below because that's what I wanted to do anyway."
Yep.
And you were dead. You were absolutely right. So most of the week it did stay in Royce's, but I mean it did.
Yeah, I
Start of this
cheered
week,
my
it
best.
just
I think I
yep.
cheered too hard.
You did. You did. I even asked old Daniel, the ex wealth fund manager, if he would call his friends, but they didn't do it, obviously. So they didn't come through. I'm kidding, of course. Just kidding. So that means that, Josh, you get to pick what we're doing this next week for the next week's wager.
Yep.
Well, going back to what I was kind of talking about earlier, gold and materials and metals, and it's kind of a sector I've been kind of eyeballing, and one in particular is FCX.
Oh, okay. Let me go take a look at that.
You say FCX?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Royce,
Does
I'll
not
pull that up
exist.
and find out what our channels are.
Freeport McMoran Inc.
Oh, we've heard about them.
I was
The
gonna
funds
do,
love those guys. And 8 picks a fund. You know what?
Okay.
He's showing he's JP Morgan this week because he's going for Freeport Mac. What is it? Freeport
McMoran.
Yeah, because they say they love that on CNBC. That's one of their favorites.
Nothing wrong with that.
See, they've both been bought off now. I'll never win.
You're welcome. No. All right. You guys want the range on
so what's
this?
my range?
Yeah.
All right. So statistical range on this from the 1 minute all the way up to the 4 hour, it has a cap at about $57. The low on this guy is about 44. So 57 to 44.
Okay. All right. We got 13 there.
Yeah.
So what should the channel be there? Roy, we'll let Royce always pick
No.
the channels.
Josh won.
Okay.
Let him pick.
But no,
Let
because
him
then
be
he
the
could just say, "Hey, I'll take 44 to 57," and then it'll be, you got to be a little fair. I mean, we divide it by 3-ish. Is that what we do then?
If you let me do that, I will do that too now.
Well, you know what? There is 13. I'll say this. It's your show, but I'm the host. It's 13 is the difference, right? So that means 4 and 5.
433. So you can do that.
So that means that the winner would get a 5, and then we get the 4s, I guess. I mean, just because that's the way it would be. I mean, would y'all agree with that?
We can put it that way. Someone gets an entire $1.
No, but so that means 44.
He's earned it. He's earned it. He's
44 to 47, and that would be 47 to 50. Wait, he gets the 5, or whoever gets the 5. He may not choose to get the 5. So 44 to 47. The middle would be 47 to 52, and then 52 to 50. Wait a minute, am I saying this right?
It depends on which range he picks, as that picks where the 5 goes. So let him pick first.
Oh, good point. Dang. Wow, that seems way too tough.
Let me take the middle range.
Okay.
So
that means go 4 up. That means 49 to 54.
Well, there has to be 3 on each side, right? 44 to 40, or 4 on each side. That's right. 44 to 48.
Yep. And then so he'd have 49 to 54.
Well, you don't leave out the dollar though, so it's 48 to. I mean, we're talking about the pennies. We understand that, but then it's 48 to 53, and then the last channel is 53 to 57, right? So that's 4 on each side and then 5 in the middle. Yeah, I mean, again, when we say that means it's 44 to 47.99, and then it's if we want to get technical with that, but which we will. Sometimes we've had to.
It's just a tricky. It was just a tricky chart on the
I thought this was
on some of these. Like it
hasn't been because of your 80,000 point lead. It is not. It's not friendly. It's not friendly anymore. And now we got a banker coming in here trying to take over. So no, it's not friendly at all.
But they're on your side.
I'm coming for it.
I question. A lot of people came into our community that really wasn't our side. They were just a mole, and then anyway.
Hey, would you like some Kool-Aid? Would you like some Kool-Aid?
I don't know. Here's a tainted banana for you. Here. All right. All right, guys, we got to wrap this up because then we're going to start hitting hours here, and we don't want to do that. We got lives to live. So I really appreciate the banker coming by, and I guess you're here for a bit until Daniel can get things worked out in Asia. And if he can get things worked out over there, then we'll have him in. I don't think we can go to 4.
They sent a ransom note. I'm thinking about just declining.
Bye, Daniel. You were a friend. Bye. All right. Thanks, Royce, for coming by and giving your expertise, of course. And I'm Darren, and we will see you again next week.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, and start recording. No, I'm just kidding.
That would.